And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the Valley of the Judged. I am your one and only gaming monk, better known as Mildra, and with me, I have two of my good brothers and sisters here in the temple. We have the man behind the Wanderer's Library, good brother Sig.
Hello, everybody. Hope you're all having a wonderful evening.
And our resident dragon gremlin, who is fending off attacks from her own cats. Good sister Tabby.
Yeah, she only drew blood once. It's a record. That one really hurt, though.
I said this earlier in the week, but if I had a nickel for every time one of my guests had gotten attacked by their own cats, I'd have 3 nickels. Which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened thrice. But so last time around, we covered the core dice rolls and some of the core mechanics, and looked a little bit at spellcasting, as well as the very interesting way playing cards are used as an MP. Now, even though it's using a D20, I had made more comparisons to games like Zen Never Dies, and I can see why Loving Fool had made the comparison with the 2D20 system. Which I've seen some people dumb enough to say the 2D20 system is just the D20 system with 2 of them. No, it's a roll under setup. But then again, some people have a degree of brain rot when it comes to the existence of a D20.
Mhm.
There's a reason I've said telling me the die that you use for your core mechanic doesn't actually tell me anything. And I suppose a case in point with that would be Star Wars D6 and Shadowrun both use pools of D6s.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have anything else in common. Obviously, on Thursdays, I've been covering Oka Hoshin with Sizer and Joe. That's using the same 2d6 as Sword World, but those 2 games have nothing in common.
Mm-hmm.
So I always get annoyed when somebody says, "Oh, I'm using a D100 based system." I'm like, "Okay, what? Okay, that's not telling me anything." I mean, is it aim high? Is it aim low? Yes, there are aim high versions of D100. Rollmaster is the big one. But it's just a weird thing. So tonight we're going to be getting into the data section, which is going to cover skills, spells, and some of the lifestyle rules. Now, the way skills is going to work, this is going to be familiar to you, Sig, because of what we saw in how skills worked in Tokyo Nova.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I seem to be making that comparison quite a bit here.
We seem to have been done that a lot throughout this entire thing.
Mm-hmm. But first thing they get into is the anatomy of features, and in particular, the priority of effects. So top priority is things like spells and magirs. Priority 2 is skills and traits, and priority 3 is items. I look at that as more of a what resolves first, if multiple of those would resolve in the same action count. But we do have the difference between mandatory and voluntary effects, the abbreviation of certain data types, any special notes such as stacking, which indicates if the feature's effects can stack, along with how to handle said stacking. Uses, self-explanatory. Constant effect, also self-explanatory. Upon acquiring, something you have to do when you learn, master, or acquire the feature. Multiple effects, self-explanatory there, and other notes. And when it comes to stacking effects, as a general rule, effects from skills, items, spells, traits, and so on with the same name do not stack, unless it says it does. In some cases, it's just overriding one effect and replacing with the new one. But then we have the whole thing of range and target. So it looks like the ranges are either going to be no range, so self effects, a certain number of spaces away. And if you're using map mode, treat one space as roughly 1.5 meters. So let me do a quick conversion for freedom units for some of us.
Considering that in the diagram here, it can utilize squares or hexes.
Mm-hmm. So 4.9 feet. So the standard 5-foot unit of measurement is how you could see that. Then sight, any space you can see. Then the types of targets are either user, a certain number of targets, a line, and a radius. And obviously, radius is going to be your big AOEs.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't ask how big the room is. I said I throw grenade.
Going for the shooting grenades around corners, are ya?
Yeah, just with satchel charges.
Shit, isn't that a little extreme?
And then you have Fireteam Whiskey that uses grenades the way you'd use flashbangs. Because Fireteam Whiskey they are the special forces. You can't see it, but I'm doing massive air quotes. But if doing simple mode and you're using line, treat it as an area of 2. If selective is listed, you can include and exclude creatures within the line's path. Obviously, the same applies with radius. Outside of map mode, treat radius as n+1 times 1.5 meters. In simple mode, treat it as n times 2. N being the number of valid targets. But first we have skills. And I suppose in this kind of thing, skills would be the equivalent of feats in other games. Though what I do appreciate is all skills are of 3 ranks, and that's it as far as prerequisites go. As far as learning skills goes, it is just spending 1,000 magicka each. And you can temporarily get skills if the story instructs so. Or forget skills. Or forget skills, because there's got to be that one asshole GM who thinks level down mechanics is a good idea for his campaign.
Oh, so it's like Final Fantasy XI within the first 3 years.
Or certain mimics, or the Loa in Megaten, in very early Megaten.
Or Ragnarok.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. God, I remember those days.
Yeah, but the skills we have, I do like this little card setup. You could probably easily print these out individually. I mean, they don't share the same size all the time, but it's close enough. Let's see, we have medicine, mobility, stealth, mining, martial arts, intercept. I do like the martial arts skill. Your strikes at novice, your strikes deal damage equal to body instead of half of body. And when you throw a target prone, deal half of body and impact damage. At expert, you get a once per turn snap action, which lets you perform a grapple, throw, or shove. And with Master, you can target characters up to one size larger than yourself with grapple, throw, or shove. Also, throws deal damage equal to body.
So Dan Hibiki to Ken Masters to Goki.
Mm-hmm. And that's kind of how each one goes. There is some of them are adding an additional die, like the marksman example. And remember, the idea is you roll with adding additional die. You roll all of them and keep the one with the best fitting result. I was gonna say lowest, but because of how a challenge works, lowest isn't always the best idea.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Then we have suppression. Then heavily armed, which just means you can ignore the speed penalty for medium load, and eventually medium load and heavy load. Let's see, marksman, socializing, spell song. I remember you being interested in that, Tabby. You may use magic for tests involving playing an instrument or singing. If you have a spell song instrument ready, you can use the spell song option when casting a spell, excluding spells from Magyar effects. The option effect, you can spend a face card and change the spell to range none and target radius 5 selective. At expert, you can discard an ace for the spell song option and change the spell to range none and target radius 10 selective. And at master, you can discard a joker for the option and change the spell to range none and target radius 20 selective. So you are effectively turning spells into AoEs using spell song.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm. I also like the alter spell here, which you can, at novice, you can use the heighten option when casting a spell. You can spend up to an amount of spells known in that school, the degree of spell minus the degree of spell being cast, extra cards. The tallies of any extra cards spent are totaled into the spell effects tally. Or expert, when casting a spell that triggers a showdown, you can spend one extra card to change the passive test to use body, sense, or intellect instead of normally magic. And master, when casting a spell with target line or radius, you can spend one extra card and exclude any characters within the area from the spell's effect. Once again, throwing fireball, except I don't get hit with friendly fire. Also, is something wrong with your mic, Tabby?
Tab. Uh-oh.
And Pool says
Maybe.
you're... there you are.
There we go.
What was it doing?
We couldn't hear you if you were speaking.
Yeah.
Makes sense as to why nobody was like, I was saying things and I was ignoring me. I might need to get a new one of these too. Locke has almost chewed through it.
Oh goodness. Yeah, we'll put that on the list.
Mm-hmm. I'm also getting an echo from you.
Hey Tab, why don't you go grab your beats and use that? Hold on, let me DM her. Okay, she can hear us, but she can't speak.
That is odd.
Well, to be fair, she did say the kitten did chew through her headphones and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But she's got wireless Bluetooth earbuds that she forgets she has. So I'm trying to see if she'll use those because those have a little mic in them too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have some of those for my phone. I will use the mic for that instead of the headset that I'm technically supposed to.
Right.
But let's see here. Anyway, we do have grappling as one of these skills. Oh, at novice.
Sorry about that.
Ah, there you are.
No
Welcome
worries.
back.
Yeah, it was. I had to unplug it and plug it back in.
Ah, the old chestnut.
Okay. So I was saying on the spell song was, I will play my trumpet and make your brains explode, and I will be happy about it because I have gone completely insane.
This is Magicpunk, not scanners.
I do what I want.
Mildred will remember this.
Will you?
Just like Architect remembers this.
But as I was saying, with grappling, at novice you get +1 die to defense test while maintaining a grapple. At expert, you can now move while maintaining a grapple. For each space you move, characters who you have grappled are forcibly moved to an adjacent space. At master, you get a once per turn snap action. On your turn, strike a character you are grappling. The target cannot declare defense for this attack. So that is how we get the duplexing somebody, but still holding on to them like you're Eddie Guerrero or something.
Or freaking Zangief doing his super.
Mm-hmm. But let's see. My only nitpick with the skills here is I do wish it was a bit alphabetized, but I'd imagine that if I was reading this in Japanese, it probably would be.
Good point.
But dual wield. If there's one fantasy that a lot of games screw up, it's the fantasy of dual wielding.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
And it's not something you see a whole lot of either.
Which probably because you either have cases where the benefits for dual wielding aren't enough, or the hurdles you have to go through to make it work are too much. Looking at you, 3rd edition.
Heh. I had a dual wielder in 5th edition that it was like, why did I go through all of this if I can't do anything, if I can't, it's just not fun. So I turn into a tree and smack you in the face. That's pretty much how it ended up going.
Yep. But Magicpunk's version of dual wielding, at novice, when you have at least 2 readied hand weapons, add +1 die to defense tests. At expert, you gain a snap action just after making a weapon attack as a main action. While you have at least 2 readied hand weapons, make an attack with another readied hand weapon not used in the previous attack. You're not being penalized for the additional attack. You just do it. And at master, as a snap action, just before making an attack, while you have at least 2 readied hand weapons, roll your attack test twice and choose which result to use. Not +1 die. You're rolling it twice.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
And Fool says, I always like a game that tosses a bone to my unarmed bros. Yeah, and this game certainly does that. Let's see, we have knowledgeable, or control. Very nice. Meditation. You're not meditating, you're napping. I know the difference.
Shh.
Oh,
I'm meditating.
don't lie to me.
I've been sitting here meditating
Napping.
meditating for the past 3 hours.
Definitely napping.
But then we get to items. And as far as types, we have tools, we have weapons, we have armor, we also have monetics. Designed to replace, substitute, or be directly embedded into a body. Monetics don't require a slot and are always considered ready once installed. So monetics is this game's version of cybernetics. It's just remember.
I was supposed to say, Magic Cybernetics sounds pretty fucking dope.
Yeah, it's just remember, anything that would be technological in any other setting is magic powered in this one.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Yep. As well as vehicles, which vehicles have their own HP. When the driver or passengers would take damage, you can apply that damage to the vehicle instead. And obviously, since vehicles are objects, you can't restore it with treatment, but instead have to use repair. Then we have accessories and devices. And of course, Mod Gear. Some items function as Mod Gear on their own, while others gain their Mod Gear functions when combined with another item. Mod Gear come effect with Mod Gear effects. If both a Mod Gear effect and the effect of the base item are present at the same time, treat the Mod Gear effect independently from the base effect. Whereas you can get items by just buying them with a set going rate, which can be done at specific times or during leisure time. You can also craft items, which we'll get to that later, or get items from a scenario. Each item has a set weight. If the total weight of the items you're carrying exceeds a certain amount, you suffer disadvantages. And this is where we get to the load thresholds. So light load is equal to your carry stat times 2. If you're at light load or less, there is no penalty.
It was a load bearing, load. Penalty.
Yep. I'm not dignifying that. But if your load is between carry times 2 and 3, you're at medium load and incur a -2 penalty to speed. And if it's times 3 but less than times 4, you're at heavy load and incur a -4 penalty to speed. Now the maximum weight you can carry is carry times 4. And if you're readying an item to your hand slot, the item's weight must be less than or equal to your carry. And of course, a hand 2 item has to be less than or equal to carry plus 5. So this is how you get your one-handed and two-handed equipment. You do have slots to ready items in. These are hand is one of the main ones, holding something in your damn hand. Since it says you can have as many slots as you have hands, I do wonder if there's going to be some monetics that gives you extra hands or arms. Though it does say...
Then we could just give you a hand.
Boo.
God damn it, Happy.
A normal human will have 2 slots, but some effects may increase it. And with equipment slots, this is the equipment being worn or put on some part of the body. Some are designated for specific body parts, like equipped feet, while others don't have one. I don't think we have to track a bunch of different slots on the body. This isn't, say, Diablo. But it's more of you can't have more than one that has a specific part on.
So I can't equip 2 pairs of shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
I mean, if you have 4 feet.
Yep.
If I have 4 feet, there is something very wrong.
Mm-hmm. The number of slots is not limited, but you may not ready more than 1 item with the same specified part at the same time. Also, even if no body part is specified, you cannot ready more than 1 item with the same name. And there are specific Magir slots, which whenever that comes up, it'll say something like Magir 2, which indicates it's occupying 2 Magir slots. You have a number of these equal to your capacity. But for each slot that's occupied, the number of cards you draw in your hand, the number of ore cards you can draw with focus ore decrease by 1. So, which we mentioned before, the ore cards are the red cards. You're drawing a certain amount of them. You can do a 1-hour refresh to reset that hand. Ore rights you don't get for free, but you also don't have an upper limit. And we have how much time it takes to ready an item or stow it. Then discarding as well as selling items. Of course, if you sell, you're selling it for less than what you paid for it, which is referenced by the different types of quality and the going rate. The only time it's a 1-for-1 is unused crafted items and legendary quality items, which always sell for the going rate. A variable case would be non-market items. And, of course, we can craft items. If a PC wants to craft an item, they have to know craftsmanship and set up a workshop. We'll get to workshops later.
I was about to say, aren't workshops part of facilities that PCs can have?
Yes.
God, imagine like a Slayer's version of this. You know how
I'd play it.
you know how Lena in the beginning fuses a bunch of gems together to make bigger magical gems.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of imagine something like that.
Yeah, that is one possibility. Of course,
Certainly would be interesting.
after you have it, you need to prepare the parts required for what you want to make. You can get parts the same way you get items. The estimated time to craft an item is the higher of the number of parts or its going rate divided by 100 in days.
Good lord.
And of course, you can have an NPC craft it, but doing so, you're going to be spending magicka to do so.
Not in addition to probably giving them the parts required to make said thing.
Mm-hmm. And of course, a artisan is within their rights to reject you if they so choose.
Just like that one guy who made the auto mail in Full Metal Alchemist 2003.
Mm-hmm. Although that may have been because he's probably traumatized by Wenri's mother.
Grandmother,
sorry. If
Panako.
If that brief flashback of a younger Panako is any indication.
You'll hear it, the bone-chilling laugh!
But once again, you do need the necessary skills to craft an item. If the PC is a crafter, you have to make a sense test to attempt to craft it, henceforth referred to as a craft test. Dice are not added to this test for taking more time, but if you're using more than one workshop, they are added. When making a request to an NPC artisan, you can pay a set amount to determine the quality without making a test. The maximum quality, although a bit of a typo there, that can be created is based on craftsmanship rank. So let's see. The degrees of quality are poor, so this is what you get if the craft test fails. Standard, this would be a successful craft test. Superior, this is what you could make if you have an expert in craftsmanship, and if you succeed in a craft test with a result of 12 to 15. Masterpiece, you need expert in craftsmanship, and you need to succeed on a craftsmanship test with a result of 16 to 20. And legendary, you need the master tier in craftsmanship, and you need to succeed with a result of 20.
I hope there's modifiers for that.
Mm-hmm. I think in order to do that, you would need to have a sense
you need to have
at
a little
20.
bit.
Because remember, you are still checking a stat. But obviously, to craft an item, you need material parts. Some parts have Magir functionality, which only function when combined with a base item. Each Magir part has a Magir slot requirement in order to ready it. And an A drive is essential when combining these parts. Obviously, design is just the look of the thing. And of course, then naming it.
No, I am not naming my magic nuke device. I regret nothing.
Mm-hmm.
He is absolutely doing that.
I'm pretty sure Lo Wang has his own nuke that is called that.
Or we could make the Pleasant Wafer.
But we do have a nice little chart that goes into the item creation process. Item creation in your core book. What a fucking concept, huh, Crawford?
No kidding.
Supposedly Crawford didn't put item creation in the 5e book because he wanted people to come up with their own take on it. Which... You smell that? It smells like bullshit.
Either that or drive people to supplements, one of which I have. And there are a bunch of those.
Which I would believe that if they had actually done first-party item creation. Even now, they haven't.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, as I find myself often invoking, Hanlon's Razor has to be considered. And there's also the possibility that they ran out of room, which, like I said, with 3rd edition, you wouldn't have that problem if you didn't bloat the damn spell book.
What's funny is, in comparison to some of the other PHBs, for some of the D&D editions, I think, I don't even think 5Es and 3.5s are the same size.
3.5 is the bigger offender when it comes to that.
Mm-hmm.
But 5 has a smaller page count, but it still has a large amount of spells.
Spells and bloat.
Mm-hmm. So the circumstance may change, but it's still the same problem. And if someone thinks that people wouldn't do the whole craft their own gear as part of a subplot, I've got a bridge in Brooklyn to sell you.
What, crafting your own stuff in TTRPGs is like half the fun.
Mm-hmm. But you can also, if you have craftsmanship, you can also break down items in your possession. If you asked an NPC to disassemble it, a labor fee of if a number of item parts times 10 magicka is required.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, those
That's would be most services of like craftsman NPCs.
Mm-hmm. The disassembled parts could be reused to craft other items or sold based on their sell rates. Now, of course, when it comes to vehicles, if you want vehicle data to be more detailed, you'd use a garage seat. A vehicle is going to have its set size, its own HP, its own speed, and part effects.
This is right up Tab's alley. I know she likes designing like vehicles and stuff.
I do.
So when
I
readying
like making things.
Yep, when readying a vehicle, you need to have enough seating available for one person, obviously. By readying it, you become the driver. If the seats of a readied vehicle is 2 or more, you can bring in passengers. Though you do have a size limit, only medium-sized characters can drive or be a passenger.
Sorry, Mulder, you're out.
And
because he's tall.
I still fall under medium size.
You only need how much height on you for large? What is it, like 3 foot?
Now, when it comes to driving, under normal circumstances, you wouldn't need a test. In more tense situations, or when advanced driving skills are needed, you would have to make a sense test. And we have entering and exiting. Which, if the vehicle is, when it comes to exiting, if the vehicle is moving, you take impact damage equal to the vehicle's speed, and can make a body test to reduce the damage by that test result. And if you want to do attacking while driving, you can use normal readied weapons, spells, or other methods, except for unarmed attacks. But the driver can use the vehicle ram option, which is a sense versus body check. Although if you do, regardless of how much damage you do when this is done, you are still taking damage equal to the amount of spaces moved.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you are still ramming. At the same time, you can defend while driving. But only the driver can declare defense. And then when it comes to parts, the core vehicle parts is a base, a power source, an exterior, an interior, and armaments. The minimum needed to craft is a base and a power source. So base is the foundation of the vehicle. This is where you get the vehicle's HP. Power source is where you get the vehicle's speed. Exterior is, exterior. This is where the vehicle's armor comes from. Interior can add various functions, and armaments is exactly what it sounds like. Weird that I end up invoking Spy Hunter once again. Or should I instead invoke that one Lotus from The Spy Who Loved Me?
I don't know. I was thinking Magicpunk Twisted Metal, which sounds fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm. But then we have a whole list when it comes to item data and how to properly read it. The first set of items is tools. The portable food kit, I'd imagine, is akin to an MRE, though depending on the nation, it probably tastes better in some cases.
I'm just looking at the medical bag and the medical kit. Make sure to bind that to your M key, kids.
Mm-hmm.
And the repair kit, because I am warrior, not repairman.
Mm-hmm. We talked about any kind of technology being magic, and that includes magic e-cigs with the ore pipe.
A magical pipe. Now that does sound pretty classy.
Mm-mm.
Especially if you're playing that detective archetype.
Mm-hmm. But and of course, each item at the bottom of it has the components that you need in order to make it. Let's see, or light, which is just going to be a magic flashlight. Windwalkers, which lets you levitate, fly, or fall with style. It is equipped to the legs, but it takes 2 Magir slots and lets you, well, fly. But let's see, we do have speed shoes, so make your Sonic jokes. I know you got them.
Gotta go fast.
Mm-hmm. The spell song instrument, which does take up a Magir slot. If you know the spell song skill, you can choose that option when casting spells. So this is one of those cases where you do need some sort of catalyst to use magic to some degree. But then we have weapons, and we have quite a few weapons. I always like weapon variety. See, a whip, a warhammer, a quarterstaff, nice. A club, a glaive. You don't see those often. A spear.
No, you don't.
Throwing daggers, knuckle dusters, a battle axe, a piercer, i.e. a short spear, a blade.
Only use me blade.
Mm-hmm. A poleaxe, a hand crossbow, and a heavy crossbow. Interesting that those kind of weapons would be in a setting like Magicpunk, as well as a bow.
And you get the pyroblade, the force saber, and like, oh yeah,
yep.
Bring it.
And each one of them has their own little quirks. For some of them, it's just doing impact damage. Though I do like the fact that impact damage is based on weight for the quarterstaff, which the weight can go up to 20. So speak softly and carry a very heavy stick.
I mean, you got your solid freaking guns too, like your solid Gatling gun, and my personal favorite, the solid shotgun.
Yep. As well as a force saber. I think George Lucas is going to sue somebody.
That's right up my alley. Let's fucking go.
A blade formed
It's a force saber, not a lightsaber. There's complete difference there. 100% different. Nothing the same about them whatsoever.
She got a point. It is legally distinct.
One uses force, one uses light. Definitely not the same.
But you can it is a Magir item. You can declare Azure Scepter, make a melee attack and deal 15 points of force damage. So it can be just activated like that, but it has a timing of 10 minutes. I.e., you can't use it for more than 10 minutes. Also has Spell Tuner. When readied or as a snap action before an attack, fill extra Magir slots up to 6, adding +5 damage for each slot. When occupying 3 slots, the weapon has range 2 and range 3 when occupying 6 slots. I take back the comparison to the lightsaber with this thing.
I mean, Force crystal question marks.
It's the Z Saber.
Yeah. Let's see. We do have the good old mining drill.
Do you have an impact drill?
Let's see. We already mentioned any ones that have solid. I'm going to assume are just solid projectile, or what some sci-fi settings call slug throwers.
We need a solid super shotgun in here.
Mm-hmm.
I will make this a thing. But basically, you got the freaking pistol from Doom 2016 with the Force Blaster.
Yep. So with the solid shotgun, see, you have 10 shells. As a snap
10
action,
shells?
as a snap action, generate and load 1 bullet, or discard 1 card from your hand to instantly generate and load a number of bullets equal to tally. If you use an ace, you can generate and load 1 bullet that changes the target to radius 1. If you use a joker, you can generate and load 1 bullet with plus 20 damage. And even the shotgun takes
reloading.
Even the shotgun takes an A drive. So yes, even the shotgun is magic, but then again, we've seen the super shotgun. How can that thing not be magic?
Now imagine, it already uses R as a shotgun, but imagine like uranium coated or whatever is the equivalent to that in this world. Mm-hmm. Just uranium coated buckshot.
Yep. But let's see, with the Force Blaster, it is a ranged weapon with no ammo limit, and given the description here, I can't help but see I can't help but see it as the Mega Buster.
I can see it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I was thinking more of the pistol from Doom 2016.
Yeah. Which is kind of in Eternal. You just have to get a little creative.
Yeah, you have to freaking mod because it is in the game's code itself.
Mm-hmm. I think I'd imagine at one point they were planning on putting it in, but decided not to.
Yeah, which makes me sad.
Mm-hmm. Then we have armor, going from simple outerwear all the way up to a powered suit. As well as a mech suit.
The ride armor, like we discussed last time.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Which gives you a bonus, a amount of armor equal to its weight times 3. The minimum weight is 21. And yeah, it more or less is that, because it says less a piece of armor and more like you're hopping into a robot.
Yep. The ride armor.
Then we have things like battery wear, which a mage would definitely want to use. You get armor equal to its weight times 3. You also get Ore Charge. At the start of the scenario, increases the user's max hand size and drawn ore cards by 3, stacks with other items. And then we have Monetics, which includes things like an ID chip, a Magear Eye, which does a lot of stuff. A Palm Blaster.
So like a Derringer.
Mm-hmm. You can apply it to either the arm or the leg. A Magear Arm. Which does exactly what you think it would do. Although I do enjoy one of the options being Wired Hand. Changes the range of your strikes with it to 5. So if you want the Rocket Punch, that's how you can do it.
Wow, really? That is so cool!
But yeah, a lot of the Monetics are what you'd expect to be cybernetics in other games. And yes, we do have extra arm. That's what the Aux arm is.
See, Tabby? There. Now you have extra hands.
Mm-hmm.
Now I can give you a hand.
I still want to wear 2 pairs of shoes.
We'll have to find you some feet. Extra feet.
And then we have vehicles, which of course the vehicles are just as magic powered as everything else. One of them being Devil's Shout, described as a monster class bike that's off the charts, definitely not for your average Joe.
So is it like those really big beastly bikes from Akira or something like that?
Yeah, this is definitely not a crotch rocket bike.
Yeah.
Especially given that the vehicle ram for it has a damage bonus. Of course, each vehicle has specific parts that it's going to be using.
I know what this is. This is freaking Mr. Grimm's bike.
Mm-hmm.
Only with more armor.
But one of them is an aircraft. Imagine using that on a job like parry this, you fucking casual. Then we have a nice little crafting table for material parts. Which is the category of it, the item itself, the weight, the selection criteria, and how much magicka it costs. Along with the quality of item. As well as design, which some of the designs can add to the cost. And of course the base items for item crafting. And what sort of stuff you need, what slot it's readying, what the weight is. The price is always price of parts, plus price of quality, plus price of design. Each part is weight 1. Which explains why there's the variable weight setup, because depending on the parts you use, it's going to add to the weight. And we have a similar thing with Magear items. The key part is an ore drive, which one or more spells can be etched into it. When doing so, you indicate the spell with its degree in Roman numerals, which explains why we saw that. For spells with cost based on cards, you may etch at a degree lower per card spent under the max. To etch spells yourself, you must have mastered both etch spell and the spell being etched, and the price becomes just 100 magicka. Some spells you can't etch, which will usually be marked. if a spell has a variable cost of only 0 cards, you can't etch it either. Or if it requires spells requiring Aurite can be etched, but you need to provide the relevant Aurite each time you use the etched spell.
And that's a little hard to come by, so good luck with that.
Yep. You can heighten the etched spell. You can, and when it comes to calculating Magir slots, it is determined by the collective cost factor per below listed for all spells etched into the circuit board. So 1 per numbered card, 2 per face card, 3 per ace, 4 per joker. And of course, it's still of course, when it comes to using these spells, it's used as a Magir effect for no cost. The timing follows for the base spell. For etch spell effect, if it calls for magic or tally, treat your magic as 5 and treat the tally as 5 per cost card, regardless of original tally. For the duration, it follows the base spell's duration. If a Spellkeeper is also installed, you can declare spell lock for an etch spell without using a snap action. And for etching non-spell custom effect, that's going to be a GM call. There's also the ore battery, which can store and hold ore. If the value for number of a 8 battery is less than 5, you can increase it by paying an additional cost of 500 magicka per +1 to a maximum of 5. At the start of a scenario, this increases your max hand size and drawn aura cards by the number up to 5 per item, stacks with other items. So anybody who's really heavy into casting is probably going to have a few A batteries. A Spellkeeper, the main reason to have that is it locks a spell in place. When you cast a sustainable spell, instead of sustaining the spell, it becomes fixed, depending on the number of Magir slots occupied. When it's applied to one spell, it can't be used on another. The effect ends when the duration expires, or the user declares to dismiss it at any time. Stacks with other items. The amount of Magir slots determines the duration. Like 1 slot, 10 minutes. 10 slots, permanent. On the other hand, we have a Spell Tuner. When readying an item with this part, or as a snap action at any time while it's readied, you can adjust the cost of any spell etched onto an A drive within the limits of the original spell's data. The number of Magir slots required changes by +or -1 for each card the cost is increased or decreased by. And we have the DWS, or Dual Weapon System. A part that has the ability to transform into 2 types of weapons. So this is how you get your transforming weapons. It's also a gun.
Or, look, I got a fucking swallow now.
Then we have the Muse, which is short for Multi-Use Spell Song Encoder. A part that turns an instrument into a device for casting spells through music. It can only be attached to an instrument. If you put it on an instrument, it becomes a spell song instrument. You just have to pay 500 magicka.
So it's basically the backing track.
Dig it.
Yep. But then we have the crafting table for vehicle parts, the base, the power source, the exterior, and the interior. And I do like that the heavier armor you put in, the worse speed you have. On the other hand, the better power source you have, the higher base speed you have. Like Devil's Heart requiring 7 Magir slots, but having a speed of 40.
Now I'm imagining like a freaking Magicpunk death race. Okay, that sounds awesome.
I like death races. You just said the magic word. Death. Race. Go.
Mm-hmm. But when it comes to interior, there's a decent variety of things that can be done with that. Of course, we do have the eject system, because of course not. Of course we would have that just in case a passenger is getting a little bit uppity.
It's for Sig. We have to make sure we just, toss them out the airlock.
Or the MTS or
You
motion.
do that to me.
Because you started it.
Or the
I didn't do anything.
Day.
The motion trace system. This how G Gundam of you.
Hey, I like the mobile trace system.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Let's see, the flight unit, which adds flight as a movement option for a vehicle. Or AS Navi, which equips an artificial spirit to assist with driving and navigation. And of course, with armaments, you can either put an outlet ram, which lets you do more damage when vehicle ramming, a weapon mount, self-explanatory, or a shield. Though that can only be done on a Nephilim frame. And Nephilim frame gives me a bit of a mecha vibe itself.
Well, it is the base frame parts for a humanoid mech, so I can see why.
Mm-hmm. But then we have spells. The real meat of things. So spells are divided into 22 schools. Each spell currently available to the public belongs to one of these schools. Each school contains 9 tiers of spells called degrees from 1st to 9th. 1st through 3rd degree, these are beginner level spells. You're not considered respectable until you've mastered up to 3rd degree in a particular school. 4th to 6th degree are intermediate spells. If you have up to 5th degree in a school, you are recognized as a professional mage. And 7th to 9th degree are advanced spells. Mastering up to 7th degree in a school earns recognition as a wizard. And I did talk about the spell list in the past, though I think I did that off stream. There's quite a few spells that we have here. Like in the world's most litigious role-playing game, they have 9 spheres of magic. Here we have 22, which are from top to bottom: hyperspace, lightning, heroism, communion, illusion, time, mind, life, creation, earth, quests, ether, frost, flame, metamorphosis, alteration, dreams, solar, death, force, psychic, and distortion. You're certainly not going to be lacking for options. Keep in mind, each of them has 9 degrees of different spells. But in order to master spells, you have to learn the basics of magic, either by enrolling in an academy or studying under a mage. This is represented by the spell practice skill. When you have that at novice rank, you can master spells up to 3rd degree, expert, 6th degree, master, 9th degree. But even with the ability to master spells, you don't have total freedom in choosing them. Within each school, spells have to be mastered in order, starting with 1st degree. So with the School of Force, you have to master Force Arrow before you can master Telekinesis. And you can't master Telekinesis. You can't master Force Conduction without mastering Telekinesis. So the spell schools are more like paths in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in order to master a spell, you have to pay an amount of magicka corresponding to its degree. So, Everything is involving magic in some form. Now, upon learning spell
there's
practice,
the explosion.
yep. Upon learning spell practice, Academia grants you a scholarship that can only be used to cover the cost of mastering spells. Now, when it comes to casting a spell, first off, declaring it. Second off, paying the cost in ore cards or orite cards. And if the cost is written as end-to-end, spending the maximum cast a spell at its listed degree for each card spent fewer than the maximum, the degree is reduced by 1. Spending 0 cards still counts as a first-degree spell. If it specifies which orite cards you have to spend, those are the ones you've got to use. If it doesn't, you can use orite cards in place of ore cards. If you do so for a spell with a sustained duration, the duration changes to a fixed time based on the orite spent. So a 2 through 10, tally times 10 in seconds. A Jack, King, or Queen, 5 minutes. An Ace, an hour, and a Joker, 4 hours. Of course, you can heighten a spell, so you can cast it at a higher degree. You can only take this if you've learned Alter Spell or by using High Magic. For each additional card spent with that option, the spell is cast at 1 degree higher. And of course, the Spell Song option, which we already covered. Now, the durations are either instant, sustain, which we've already covered, or timed, so it's active for a set amount of time, and that's it. So you can dismiss it early. And each of these spells has their own little spell list, as we can see, and the higher tier spells are banned from etching. But I do like this whole spell. I do like this whole thing of a spell path in this manner. And with each, we have the cost and how much magicka it costs to learn it. Some spells use a main action. Some use a snap action. And each one, as mentioned, has their own cost. But for example, Surface Walk, which just lets you walk on surfaces like liquids, and walk along walls, just costs 1 card. Whereas, let's see the school. Let's see what the equivalent of a fireball would be, since we've been using that meme quite a bit.
I mean, they have the fireball spell.
Mm-hmm.
Are we doing another school?
Yeah. I do like the School of Frost, because in certain more ubiquitous and litigious RPGs, those who want to be an ice mage or just lean more into cold damage don't get a whole lot of options.
Nope.
Here we are. School of Flame. So we have Continual Flame, which just makes a flame for a certain amount of time. And it emits warmth, but won't ignite flammable objects. And it won't go out until the effect ends. But then Fire Bolt, which is not Fireball, it's a single target kind of thing. which does damage and inflicts burn. Let's see, enchant flame, firewall. Here we are, fireball. Cost is a face card plus 0 to 3 cards. It has the heighten option. Range is 5 plus magic. Duration is instant. It can be etched. So you could etch it onto a shotgun if you so chose.
Oh shit.
Oh.
Let's do it.
Yep. Uses main action. Target is radius 1. Test is sense versus sense. Make a ranged attack used against the target area, inflicting magic plus tally points of heat damage, and burn equal to card spent times 3. So it's only radius 1, so it's not as big as some fireballs we've seen, but there's bigger versions, such as Firestorm, which has a radius of 3 and is sustained. Or the 9th degree is even nastier. Eternal Flame.
Yeah, a spell that's banned.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's banned from etching. Cost an ore globe as well as 0 to 5 cards. Duration is permanent. Touch a creature or object, engulfing them in eternal fire. The target takes tally points of heat damage upon casting and at the start of each of its turns. The fire persists until the spell is dismissed or the target is completely reduced to ash.
Damn. I want this.
No.
Yes.
No.
Absolutely.
No.
Mm-hmm.
He'd use it in the de-trafficker, and then we get in trouble.
Yep. But
hey, don't tell him about the trafficker.
Sorry.
I do like that the School of Solar, which does involve light, can also involve messing around with the sun. With things like with its highest spell being Solar Wind. But
missed opportunity for a solar flare joke.
Yep. And of course, some psychic spells, distortion spells. There's quite a variety of spell options, as we can very, very clearly see. But then we have lifestyle, which of course covers the daily life. The structure is based on job, region, home, facilities, and activities. Job is what you do for a living. Well, what you do for a living when you're not taking maverick jobs. It also has a impact on the lifestyle points you can earn. Some are available to anyone, others require certain skills. Region is where your character lives. The region impacts the outcome of the leisure event table. If you pick a region labeled as Sanctuary, that means you're a citizen of the Metropolitan Sanctuary and pay the ore tax. See, then home describes your character's dwelling. This affects your well-being and the maximum amount of facilities you can install. The size and security of home directly affect day-to-day comforts. This, in turn, lets you maintain good health and recharge your spirit for the next dangerous job you dive into. Facilities we kind of covered. That's the features of your home. And activities are what you can do during the leisure time phase. So you can acquire a lifestyle at character creation or during leisure time. Now, when it comes to setting a lifestyle, the first part is the job. Then you'd get lifestyle points equal to social plus your job's benefits. Then you'd spend those points to select a region from the region data, as well as a home, and any number of facilities up to your facility's limit. And if you've got points left over, you can spend those on as many activities from the activities data as your points allow. And of course, your choice of lifestyle can impact reputation. There is also the security, which is set by your region, but your home and facilities can modify it. This can help you manage the outcomes on the leisure event table by adjusting the die result. And of course, the question of whether or not you are in Sanctuary or in Outland. Then we have the different jobs available, and there are quite a few of them. Some of them require certain skills. And the benefits is basically how many job points it ends up giving you, which is, I like that it's based on certain stats, as opposed to being a set number.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, bodyguard, your lifestyle points generated from that are equal to 1/3 your body plus 4. But in order to get it, you need the skills martial arts or naked steel, as well as guardian. Which would certainly make sense. And of course, the region side of things, which some of them have certain job requirements, as well as an LP cost, a reputation modifier, a security rating, and of course the different types of homes, which have their own LP cost, their own well-being rating, a modifier to security, a facility limit, which ranges from looks like the smallest one would be a monastery with 3, up to a wizard tower with 20. And when it comes to facility data, as far as what type of facilities, we have a garage for storing vehicles. One garage can hold 1 vehicle, and each facility has a facility size, so this is the equivalent to item slots for PCs. A training room where you can do the train skill as an activity. A security system adds +1 to security. A workshop for crafting items, we already covered that. Each additional workshop adds +1 die to craft tests. A study, which lets you do train intellect as an activity. A smart home, which raises your well-being by 1 step. A storage, for storing goods, can store any number of non-vehicle items. A garden, which adds +1 to reputation, can be installed multiple times. A gym, which lets you train body. A lab, which lets you choose spell research. A zen room, which lets you train magic. A game room, which lets you train sense, or any, which is just making up a new one. Several of the activities that you can do based on those facilities, some of them do require a particular skill or facility. With training skills, you can skip paying the 1,000 magicka cost to learn a new skill through once through the advancement setup. So you don't have to spend as much, but it is a slower process. And the same thing goes with training sense or training body. And with spell research, you can gain 100 times the amount of lifestyle points you spend solely for mastering new spells. It's essentially giving you free money just for learning spells. So definitely some nice setups there. But I know that's a lot that we covered, but what do you think of what we have when it comes to the data section regarding items, skills, and spells, as well as lifestyles?
There's a lot to play around with, especially in the spell categories. And hey, we have crafting, and I love crafting.
Yep.
It was definitely it was interesting for sure.
Yep.
I still want my Magicpunk Death Race or Twisted Metal.
Just as plot twist, you end up stuck as Axel.
Shit. I mean, given it's a Magicpunk setting, that is that's not beyond the realm of possibility.
Mm-hmm. Though I will, some of the organization of things was a bit odd, but like I said, that could be just a result of translating.
Yeah.
But it's very clear that mixing and matching and customizing is a big damn deal with the game. And once
being able to do that kind of stuff, like where you just able to create things and make things and just I spend hours and hours on creating like ships and stuff like that and vehicles. So.
Yeah, though it is clear that that no matter what build you make, you're on a pendulum between two extremes: a casting build and a Magier build. I feel like most characters are going to be somewhere in the middle, but the further you go into one direction, the more you cut off options in the other. And of course, your ability to use those spells is still dictated by the cards that you get. And this is why I'm glad that the only time specific cards are talked about as a requirement is with face cards, aces, and jokers. Otherwise, this could get very bottlenecky.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously for the kind of build that I'd probably do, which would be an unarmed ice build, it wouldn't be too hard to do that. I think what's one of the real big takeaways is something that we've mentioned throughout this series. That is, everything is magic powered. Not only even down to your money and some of your mundane equipment. But because of the way it's set up, I could easily see somebody taking one of the weapon blocks that we see here and adding an extra item or two at cost, of course, to make some ridiculous equipment.
Oh, for sure.
In fact, let me go back and look at the pre-gens that we saw early on. Because now that we have a better understanding of the way spells work, I want to revisit something.
Yeah.
So let's go to width. So the rogue mage is using life, force, and actually just life and force, though is most clearly spending more time on force. Uh, and they don't really have much in the way of Magir.
Whereas the mutant hunter has quite a bit of Magir.
Mm-hmm. So, like I said, those are the two extremes. I'd say Rogue Mage and Mutant Hunter are examples of those respective extremes. Rogue Mage is minimum Magir and more spells, which means they're drawing a lot more Aurite cards than anyone else.
And whereas Private Eye and Spellsinger are kind of the in-between.
Mm-hmm. Which I enjoy that kind of pendulum.
Yeah.
It does mean that if you went with the Magir build, you're going to be far more reliant on Aurite to actually do crazy stuff.
Meaning you're going to need a lot more of it.
Mm-hmm. But again, the advantage with Aurite is there's no upper limit. So I know some might say that the use of cards when it comes to cost might make things a bit too unpredictable, but in reality, from what we saw, the only time specific cards are required is the really high level stuff. And in that case, it's still in that tier of face card, ace, joker.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else, the suit only really matters on the whole red versus black part, and the number value is more important. I'm pretty sure somebody's gonna house rule it that if you spend a number of cards in a straight or a set, it's going to do some additional effect. But doing that for, say, spells is going to be an absolute nightmare. So the fact that recharging ore cards takes an hour. If I'm playing this personally, I might be a little more generous than that. Just because that amount of time sounds a little bit close to the Vancian model. It isn't full Vancian because it's only an hour, not a long rest. But I would probably have it that you end up recharging that between scenes. Now with Aurite, no, you don't do that. Because it's clear that the difference is one is rechargeable, the other one is not. And I know someone might say, couldn't they just be conservative and hoard a bunch of Aurite? I mean, you could, but you still have to find that stuff first, and depending on the type of cards you're looking for, that might not be easy. It also might be expensive.
Yeah. Especially because I think if I remember right, Aurite condenses down into R, the more solid form of it, right?
Aurite is the solid form, or is the latent form that is akin to Aether or Chi in other settings.
I was just trying to see if I remembered right.
Mm-hmm. Whereas Aurite is akin to energy crystals. But
that can be condensed into the various forms, as we saw, like getting an alright orb.
mhm. Which, I mean, you might want to do that for the higher tier spells, but you're also spending a pretty penny for them.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, the whole lifestyle thing, I always appreciate downtime mechanics in RPGs, especially if they're RPGs that are built on a mission-based setup, which Magicpunk very much is.
Mm-hmm.
And I know some are like, yeah, but I can't do the whole morally gray job thing. Like, if you want that, go play Shadowrun or Cyberpunk. Here you are some level of hero/anti-hero. Deal with it.
Mm-hmm. Which I find to be a lot more interesting.
Mm-hmm. But with that said, that will do it for this particular episode of the Valley. Let me see something. Did I list what the one shot was going to be, or did I have it as a? Yep,
I think you did. Let me double
I
check.
did, and it's going to be a triple feature because, two of them are very light. So we'll be covering Pax and Blades, Dharma 6, and Doom Spiral.
Need to get those downloaded then.
Cool.
Yep. Pax and Blades and Dharma 6 are extremely light. When I say extremely light, these are zine-sized books. And I think Dharma 6 is only less than 10 pages. It's been a while since I looked that up.
I still gotta look through that Shining Force RPG you linked earlier.
Yeah. I did look into that. That is using a D100 system.
Okay.
So it's clearly drawing upon early Shining Force, which I'm perfectly fine with.
Yep.
Mostly because you need some kind of structure. But that is a story for another night. So until then, on behalf of the good brothers present and not present, my name is Mildra. I am your gaming monk. Stay fucking frosty, everybody.
See you on the trail.
Take care.